on this agent. Let's see what kind of power he packs.
I'm looking at Heat. They're already just looking to try and push straight into mid. It's going to be a brawl within the first few seconds, and already Acend and Zeke have put themselves in that advantage. We expected this one to be a fist fight, a brawl throughout. We know that Acend like to take teams on that individual skill. For now, though, we're going to see them split. Yeah, Morris has managed to come in from behind. The shot's connecting and actually drops the spike. Although they've been isolated by the Sage Wall, this now becomes a little bit more awkward for the side of Acend. And they are in a 3 versus 2.
The fact that he's playing a Killjoy means that he might be going on those lurks a bit more. He usually plays the duelist and is playing the tempo like a duelist despite being on a very different age. And MW0 has the recon that just coming online, has been sort of playing in that kitchen position. Burris might have got more than he bargained for, and he's back in Masters 3. Can he have that same kind of performance on the Killjoy? Very different role. He's already got 4 kills already. You never know. He might get more than 29 this time.
Hey, you know what? If he's going to keep farming up that lockdown, I don't think they're going to mind too much. Now, in terms of investment for this round, it's a minute one. You have yourself a Marshall onto Zeke, a little bit extra spent just to try and make this one costly. And although the compositions are nigh on mirrored, this is one of the differences, is that he basically has to pop off individually, otherwise the value of that Reyna, not quite there.
I wonder why they gave the Marshall to Zeke and not Acend. I guess he does have the frenzy, obviously has that dash in that he could use, close the distance, but Heat's going to win out that up battle. Wants to get a bit more. Confidence is going to be an important thing for both of these players when it comes to getting these operator kills. I think naturally Heat's going to have that advantage on the defense because the defensive op is incredibly strong.
Yeah, the only thing I will say though is I feel like with Acend, I actually enjoy watching his attacking operator more on this map, but just because it's him. Yeah. I feel like in 99.9% of cases I'd agree with you, but just because it's Acend, I'm gonna wholeheartedly disagree. But a 4 versus 4, Bone Cold has managed to find one back, but the time is ticking. And a pretty good position for Joe to try and at least do a little bit of extra damage. He's just going to fall back, not opting to take too many risks here. And MW0, well, he's doing a lot of damage. They're going to get themselves the plant. It's not too bad for Acend, making some extra cash. Okay, yeah, there we go. Making some extra cash and only killing off one player because eventually MW0 will get it done.
That's the thing that they're struggling with, because this is also a very young squad. You're looking at Heat, who's only 18. MW is 20. The oldest is Joe, who's 25.
Don't say that.
Similar stuff. Yeah, it makes us feel ancient. I'm 29 in like 2 weeks. I don't know what's going on. But Acend is exactly the same. There's
Are you saying it'll be your birthday,
boys.
Right?
Yep. But it is apparently very unlucky to talk about your birthday or be wished happy birthday before your birthday.
Okay,
so,
happy birthday. Right?
Yeah, thanks, chat. I imagine all of like Twitch YouTubers just happy birthday. Yeah, I'm not surviving.
A lot of players currently stacked up on the B side. Of course, for Vivo Key, this is one of those rounds where they're playing it as a bonus. They do have a few rifles available, and there is one of them. He has just taken the head clean off of Zeke, and that was the lurk play. The rest of the team making their push, but they are moving into the majority of that Killjoy utility, and you can see the rest of the team already running on the rotation.
Oh, Murris maybe wasn't expected to get spotted by that recon, that considering, and Acend up on rafters, just seeing if he can catch any players. Look at this movement though from Heat, he's just jumped onto the spot. Bone Cold at least catches him, and MW can take out Acend at this point. Starzone now trying to up this tempo. The trades are good.
No, incredibly good. It's already screaming, so if they can keep this momentum going, well, Acend are going to have to break it, that's for sure.
And Acend for this map, we've not really seen... We've seen him twice since Masters. One of those was that dominant loss against Vision Strikers, but he's certainly online. I think the big question is how good is Heat realistically against some of the other Jets or other players in the world? It's certainly up there, but you also need to see him almost put the rest of the team on his back, like Scream-esque almost.
I want to point out, Heat has 3 kills. They are all on Zeke. In each round, he's been the opening kill.
Oh, on the Reyna as well.
He found him, yeah, he found him with the Marshall. Last round, he peeked him with the rifle. He's done it with the op. So he's already killed him, 3 different guns, 3 different rounds. Of course, in this one, an inherent disadvantage for Zeke. But they're being caught all over the shop. MW0 ready for the push, and these individual peaks are just garnering absolutely nothing for Acend.
Effectively, the fact that Heat has the operator on this early, and this is looking to be a flawless. We'll see what it's like. At least Heat can try and like keep that gun in hand. It means that for the next 8 rounds on his defense, he might still have that sniper rifle in his little paws. Now, Acend has picked up
30 seconds
that
left.
stinger, just a bit of a lighter buy from him. But from this distance, I don't think he's beaten Vixen.
I will be a little bit annoyed if he does somehow get something done, especially now he's been spotted. Like, it just doesn't seem like the gun that's going to be able to do anything. Yeah, look how much health he still has left, Ryan. Like, let's
God bless the Sting. This time, Team Secret, for example, have come in and surprised. It's not like out there when it comes to strategies, but the play is tighter. That to me is much more interesting from watching those games before. But now you were saying about that attack operator, it finally gets seen it off the board and Heat goes down first. Yeah,
they were waiting for Heat. They know he's going to be pushing in every single round. And as I said, he's been finding an opener onto Zeke, so maybe Zeke will feel a little bit safer. He's like, oh god, good. He's dead. Maybe there's a chance I can actually survive in this round, but that one kill might not necessarily be the difference. We know how heavy Acend like to lean into this A site. Thanks, Jess, for that one. But we're going to see the Killjoy off pulled. Maybe you're just preemptively expecting this. It's been destroyed, so I guess technically they have baited out a not on the other side from Bone Cold, but the whole team is now here ready and waiting. Yeah, there's no flanks around. That's exactly what Keyless is checking, but now he might actually go on a bit of a lurk. He's realized how much space is here, and Zeke, the rest of his team are retreating, but he's able to hold on. These layers are so important, so the fact that Zeke has been dying first for the majority of the rounds, now we start to see him do exactly what you want to see from Arena. The amount of players that kept over on the A site just from him now. Everybody else has rotated away. Vivo Key don't want to take that risk, and they can't because Zeke is still going to push. Murray's does eventually take him down. Yeah, but he's wasted enough time. The rest of the team set up ready and waiting. CNED's operator will put a second in the grave, and
one enemy
well, this round in itself is looking grave.
Enough of a thorn in the side, and I think that's what makes him such a powerful player for Acend. He's a pain in the ass to deal with.
I think you could say that for most of the members of Acend, but I'm not going to disagree. Now again, we're going to see a different form of aggression coming out from Heat. Not going for the same battle. It's almost like that rotational AWP we've seen for years and years. He's brought it into Valorant as well. The question is anyone going to peek him? That A-site lean is definitely there once again, but you can see Acend have already adapted. They're being caught off early in a lot of rounds from this aggressive operator, and instead, they are holding.
Utility on the side of Acend, it's very difficult to really unearth when these operators are posted up. Most people will look at flashes as being the main thing, but like breach stuns, for example, the Aldrin is one of those things that is very good at it, but of course, being baited away by Joe, he is allowed to stay in place, and he knows that nobody's coming. The stack is moving over to A on the side of the defense.
Yeah, they put Joe there purely for the purpose of destroying the drone, just to make sure his position wasn't revealed, and as said, the rotation so far from Vivo Key has been spot on. They've got pretty much every player ready and waiting, but Zeke's Empress allows him to not only find that opener, heal up, and escape, and CNED has just popped one more. Acend starting to roll into this A site, finding every single kill, and they're even looking to potentially try and hunt.
I'm sure that's something that, like, Platch have been leaning on. Seasonal is worthy of a shout as well with the work that he's been doing in the scene for that. And it is an interesting thing, especially when you have some Jets in this tournament that don't really play the op a lot. For example, later on we see Patapan. Not really known for the op. You got BA, he's amazing with all of the guns. He's the most well-rounded one. So CNED versus Heat is going to be interesting in various ways other than who gets the most killing kills.
The timing here is going to be everything. They didn't spot out Heat, and he's already taken off 2 heads. Not the start that they were looking for. He waited for his moment and found it perfectly. Still a good chance here, though, for an afterplant, but actually, straight away, we're going to see the Hunter's Fury just patiently waiting to see if he attempts another. Tagged him, but Bone Cold will survive. This should allow him to run. He knows, just connecting everything, put into his crosshair, and you can see the confidence. He's running straight in. He spots the man at the back, but Bone Cold takes him down. Still a 2 versus 4 scenario, some weaker weapons on the remaining players, so there is still quite a lot to do. And Bone Cold, he might catch a player with the Aldro now, a free kill for him at least, but his teammates being pressured. Killers needs to stay alive, and actually his pit's about to drop. Players low on the other side, a chance to try and clear them up, but it will be Mures to put him in the ground. Vivo Keyed, or should I say Heat, win them an eco.
See, I don't know. They completely isolate both Bone Cold and Keyless. That's a very difficult 2v4, whatever it was in the end.
Quick push through mid, wall to isolate 3 players actually looking in this direction, though. A good opportunity for Morris, but he's taken down almost instantly. Still, though, a couple of other defenders, and along with Bone Cold's Hunter's Fury, this execution looking a lot better. They need a response, and they need it soon. And while Heat, this time, I don't think there's a hero to be found.
Bone Cold having 2 Hunter's Furies in 8 rounds now?
Not bad.
That's not bad at all. Especially when it's mostly like, I think Starzo going to be planting the spike for the most part, not only just to get that res online, Hungry Hippos, those ult orbs, but the Sage Walls to just protect yourself whilst you're doing this. So Bone Cold has been farming away a little bit. They've seen it can't afford the Operator, which I'm pretty sure he would be able to. He does have that Blade Storm as backup for the next round as well.
Yeah, I like that though. I think that adaptation from Acend is one that I almost feel was necessary. Like, we've seen some slower rounds that give someone like Heat opportunities. Instead, they just take that away from him. And actually, there were 3 players in a pretty solid position from Vivo Keep, maybe expecting that response, but we've seen Zeke step up, a couple of kills coming through from him, and they win this one with 4 players alive. So
I think at this point, I think it'd suit him.
Stop trying to convert everyone.
Everybody.
It's happened to Achilles as
Jets
well.
and Yinsu are the main 2. Join the bald guy.
Yeah, of course, of course. I would like to see you try and say that to Potter. Again, though, it's going to be the battle of the Jets, and this time he comes out on top. As said, we've seen CNED be the difference in all our rounds, and you know what? I think Acend agree with us. They've brought him back from the depths, and out for the reposition. He actually getting tagged up. He's going to have to fall back out of the site, and they're going to use this to try and claim some extra space. Zeke looking for a duel, hoping that someone's going to try and fight against him. But this time, Ryan, it's a lot more passive from Vivo Keep.
Yeah, some of that post-plant, or anti-plant utility coming out of the side of Vivo Keep. Not really connecting all that much onto the star zone, to the point he's actually just staying in that spot. Defo likes to do it a little bit. Pops up onto the high ground. Bone Cold with a recon dart. It's going to see if any players come through on Rafters, and it's just been watched keenly. This is a really nice post plant from Acend, but Vivo Keat's still in it, dedicating the res as well. It's just Murray's left.
Oh, CNED's going to walk into him. Turns it into a 1v2 scenario. He's getting smashed with utility, but doesn't take much damage from it. The tap, oh, and he actually gets the conversion! This man moves on to the Killjoy and finds every single headshot along the way.
Up and down. Acend have done well to stay, but to be on the top, that's been the awkward part.
Oh, they're still going to have a bye for this one. The rounds they have been winning have been relatively clean, and on the other side of things, of course, only 1 player surviving for Vivo Keed, so there is still very much a chance to pull off a response, although we do normally see a fair amount of attack rounds on this map from, well, most teams playing it, so I am starting to worry a little bit for Acend that I've bitten off a little more than they can chew this time. CNED, I think, has just decided, you know, I'm gonna bait that shot out because it has been Heat. I want to say winning that duel more often than not.
Across multiple players, yeah. I think CNED's won it. I think the only time he did win it was over towards this tube position, actually. So that mid pressure's coming in. They baited out the Operator shot, so it's like, all right, we can't really go A this time. Zeke is 1 ult orb away from having an Empress. That might be quite useful, but the concern I have is that Murray's does have that lockdown. There is no Hunter's Fury to try and combat it this time. And with time being relatively low now for Acend, that might be the play for Murray. Just get that lockdown, and then it's awkward, especially now that these utilities be dedicated and the plant's going down.
Yeah, the worry for me is that that last retake only worked because of a clutch. Now, sure, this is a completely different scenario, but Acend have done well for the most part in these scenarios. The lurk play as well from Zeke is already going to shut down 1, and they expected him to leave. Instead, Starzo sticks around! He's going to pop the head of 3 and leave just 1 man standing. He doesn't care that he's been detected.
No.
Okay, it doesn't matter. He gets the first one, but he's got to
get detained, but if he can get a couple of kills, it's 100% worth it. Reminds me of Guild on Haven as well from LCQ.
I like this as well from Acend. I think they've realized, okay, chances are Vivo Keep want to battle for one of the ultimate orbs. Like, if your Jet is 1 away, you're going to be looking to try and get that Blade Storm. So they fight both sides of the map, one side with the drone, the other with the passive players waiting. CNED, who's going to expect him to be there? Like, he is peeking out off the back of his teammate's screen, going just that little bit deeper to allow him just a bit of space. And that's enough for him to basically shut down this round. There should be absolutely no way back into this one.
And just the fact that he didn't repeat from the same angle, he's still going for these fights, but just changing it up enough. He's intelligent to know where he can see what on any given position. Whilst he loses that, well, he doesn't lose it, but he doesn't get the kill in that first fire whilst he's playing on stairs. He backs off a little bit, catches Vixen. I think they know where Heat is, roughly.
Oh, they definitely do now.
They had an inkling before, didn't two.
They do still have
two. Yeah, they still have 2.
I guess they just want to fight. Oh, dear. Okay. Maybe a little bit over-aggressive that time from Heat. Try to find someone on the B side. It's not where CNED has been. Now, I guess it's because they've also used the Viper's Pit on A. So they've tried to lock down that side of the map, and on the other side, the Viper's Pit ends up actually just being their own teammate. That is an interesting pit, though.
Yeah, and Zeke actually leaving the operator on the ground, so he can switch and swap if he wants. And I like what Acend was doing. He got that initial kill. He was still firing. You know, there's an operator over on B main on the attack, so maybe somebody from A pushes and they run into Zeke with an operator. It's just that kind of... It's not really a play that you're going to expect on the side of VivoKeed.
VivoKeed right now have absolutely no clue what's going on. I can tell you that for the exact reason that Viper's Pit, they could have crossed over. They don't know. There's also been a drone that's gone through their own Viper's Pit on the other side of the map. And in reality, the attackers are pushing B long. So there is no information whatsoever. You can see Joe's just started like calling to his team. They're actually on B. You've gone A. They're planting here. I'm on my own. Is he about to get shot in the back? He is. Just had no idea. They've been completely confused, bamboozled by Acend, and it leaves just 2 players left, Ryan, to try and bring back around where I'm sure they just want it to end.
Yeah, and even the fact that MW0 had to use an owl drone from so far out to clear kitchen. Now that's the area that Keyless is in. Vixen in a 1 versus 5. I love that Acend used that time. Yeah, that's what Balor was saying.
Yeah, but it's always 70%. No matter what the stat is, it's 70%.
Yeah.
But here we go. We've seen aggression from one Jet. We're getting some from another. Seen it up above. Is the drone check for him? Now they've actually got the wall up, and he has definitely been spotted. We'll be able to escape before any real trouble begins, but has to try and back away. Again, 4 players already over here, just leaving the lone player of Zeke.
Yeah, and you also have this toxic screen as well, which is purely retake. So Murs is going to see this go. Maybe the site's completely open because usually you see that toxic screen go up to try and retain the site. Zeke thought he was big braining, but Heat there just on the high ground catches him out on that crossfire. Lovely play, but that utility's already set up from Acend. They are going to have to meander over. And with Murs still alive, I wonder how much he's lurking, because right now he's just planted face first into Ascend's sightline.
Oh, this is aggressive already. They're going to get things back into a more even scenario, and it has to be the fallback of the opposing Jet and Heat. They haven't even managed to get themselves the spike down. This is a retake before they've even got the plant. Acend just come running.
A repeat from them.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like Starzo's always like just moving that little bit. It's just how much he's moving. The more they're winning, the more he moves. That's what I've learned, at least.
It's like APM.
For now, though, a lot of information found. The drone down mid will spot a couple of players, and in fact, they're going to use this to bolster up their B defense. But this seems to be the plan in a lot of rounds initially from VivoKeed, is just have that spot over to B, see if they can find anything on the opener. If not, fall back, slow it down, maybe try and disrupt what Acend have been doing.
There's a bit of information for Acend to hear. A couple of the classic shots used to break that wall. It means that there is going to be a bit of movement across. The Marshal posted up on B main, so CNN's going to keep an eye. And I don't think at this point Vixen's been, putting up that wall to try and bait the interest. It's an open sightline for CNN to just keep tabs on it. Mid is being watched loosely from Keyless. And this is just good map control from Acend. Nothing too egregious. They don't want to get eco'd at all. It's just patient stuff. And if Zeke as well can have a bit more success from this position, he's up on the high box on this defense. Means that VivoKeed need to be scared of all of these angles. It is Icebox at the end of the day.
Yeah, this could become a little bit rough. He's got the ability to dismiss if he needs it. And, well, eventually it will come through. Starzo falls, so again, at least a player being dropped, but one death is not going to be too much of a cost for the defense.
I have freedom to play other stuff at the very least.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was 14-4. So I'm pretty sure he's died 5 rounds in a row. So it's been very explosive rounds from Mures that have definitely been highly impactful, but in terms of consistency, I think that's been the issue so far for VivoKeed.
Well, other than the 2 4K rounds, we're doing a lot of maths this
let's stop that. You never do math on air.
Outside of the flashy rounds we've seen from him, he's just been chipping away. It's not like he's been multi-killing every single round.
Well, for now, this is a very weak purchase for Acend. They've just got those bonus weapons from before, a pistol alongside the Spectres. The range game is going to clearly favor the side of VivoKeed. And by the looks of it, they're going to have a fairly easy B plant because the rest of the players are currently looking to try and challenge into mid.
It's scary though, you don't really have that Aldron. It was used already from MW. You might not even have the money to get it at this point. If you're looking at Heat, he's only got 25 armor, so even though this is a full buy, only just in some of these cases. With the spike going down, there's no lurks, there's no cute plays from Acend, even though you are taking the attention for VivoKeed, that are kind of watching behind him a little bit. Yeah, Zhao is playing very close.
Ooh, oh, that's I'm wondering if they're going to try and counter all this. Starzo has his own that he might just look to try and peek out. They're going to already clear out one, but with the rifles in hand, they should just look to spam it through, and the cleanup doesn't take.
From being a pure duelist player up until now, to maybe playing a bit more aggro, especially with Murray's moving over to a Sentinel, but no, it's been Heat making those entrances, and the playoff from that from Vivo Kid has been pretty impressive so far.
I like the attempt, but the peekaboo spot out from Zeke hasn't worked whatsoever, and there's a push coming straight in up to the side. They're just looking to try and run this one straight through. Murray's leading the charge, and he's managed to get quite far. I don't know if they realized that he's got all the way through, and Bone Cold's going to be the one to catch a bullet for it. Now Killers is in a horrible spot. He either has to face the wrath of the full team, or try and catch them on the way, and he does exceptionally well. Starzo even going to wall up over the top, try and battle them, but he takes the brunt of the damage. A 2 versus 2 scenario in the lurk coming through from Heat is not going to be expected at all. It's left onto Starzo to try and bring
game landers together. So there is a bit of synergy. It's not like MW0 is completely outcasted from this side. And I think so far, that's probably one of the reasons why this Vivo Key team looks so in sync with each other.
Yeah, especially for a roster that I think a lot of people are just looking at them as that individual
firepower
team.
All aim, no brain.
It's not. It hasn't really looked that way. They've had those lurk plays, decent trades. Sure, there's been a few flashy plays along the way, but they're looking much more well-rounded. Now, it's something I said yesterday when we saw the loss of Gambit. I never really like to judge a team just on their Icebox performance, because I feel like it's a more simplified map than a lot of the others we have within the pool. So I don't want to take too much, but
sometimes that's nice, though.
True.
Especially for a first map that we've seen Vivo Kid in a while. It's just a good, like I said with Team Secret yesterday, stress tests. You're not going to be over egregious with compositions. And Bone Cold again, dying in the same position as the last time. This one, it's an eco, so it's not really too much. But if they could scare Bone Cold away from playing in these spots where he wants to keep an eye out, that's going to work very well in Vivo Kid's favor. Like, confidence is so important for either side, but especially when it's on for Vivo Kid, that's a freight train.
There's a few ults fairly close for the side of Acend, so any kills they can get might actually benefit them quite a bit, but for now the hold
lovely move
from Vivo Kid is looking stellar. Killers will at least...
And ultimates as well. There's enough for Acend to work with here to really cause issues for Vivo Kid. Viper's Pit's going to be the first one used in a direction where a lot of traffic is going from the Brazilian side.
Killers is going to pop it, but back off, just trying his best to avoid the drone. And actually, they're going to make this very awkward for him. Now, he's got to try and go back in just to keep the integrity of the Viper's Pit.
Look at Joe.
Then he has to try and back out. So this is becoming quite a problem. Zeke as well popping the Empress as they look to try and push through, and Killers has actually been trapped, but it almost works as a bit of a bait if they tried to push him down. There were plenty of players ready and waiting. Even still, though, it is going to be the plant come through, and he manages to get the opener.
The Viper's Pit being down now is not really too much of an issue. The lurk was attempted from Joe, but in fact moved away. I think he was caught by the turret setup in the end from Morris. And now the Hunter's Fury coming through, trying to see if he can catch anybody as another Viper's Pit's dedicated on the defense, or the attack this side even. It's a bit of a mess, but Ascender coming out.
Yeah, they're doing well from this.
And they lose, they bounce back, and even then, Furia scared him a little bit yesterday. Gambit, it was a bit more clinical, but still an area where you kind of go, especially me, wants to see Gambit do relatively well in this tournament, if I'm being biased. So the fact that they looked a bit awkward against Team Secret is like, okay, especially when Vision Strikers look clinical, to say the very least. And I think that's what's been missing from Ascend, especially with those peaks. A couple of times they've lined up and just got mowed down. Murray's with that clutch, and now obviously MW0.
Yeah, maybe a few shaky scenarios, but I really don't want to take anything away from Vivo Kid. They've been fantastic. They've had those players that are performing to the standard we expected, but even still, Zeke hoping to try and find something on aggression, not really getting anything for it. They are, however, walking into the Blaze Storm of CNED, and if anything can turn around, it would be this player with this weapon.
I also think this is just a good map for MW0 when it comes to playing solo for the first time, because it is just very straightforward with using that utility. Like the Owl Drone going onto A to temper some of that defensive aggression, recon down onto the back of the site as well. And it is working, because Ascend now are starting to try and make those hero plays. What Heat was punished with on the defense, now Zeke is, and Keyless, with that Sheriff, wanted to try and surprise. It was cute, but Vivo Kid are not going to fall for it. Not lost a player yet.
Yeah. I think this is the man we need to be watching, though. If there's anybody who can at least make this costly, it is going to be CNED. But again, in these afterplants, I've been fairly impressed by Vivo Key. They look strong, haven't really been making too many silly mistakes, and well, for now, they are going to lose the first. Bone Cold managing to find a kill. Starzo's found another one. The knives still standing, but they dissipate. A few missions.
Might, but we're just saying no.
Here we go. Again, a very fast-paced take. They'll know that there's a buy coming up here for Acend, and then the last time they spam their ultimates to get it through, they've spotted out killers early on. What is the response here? MW0 is already going to tag him at the back, so he's going to be isolated. But Starzo, he's managed to thread Danito. He gets nothing, though. The turnaround from Joe. We mentioned that fragging ability. That might be the most important kill of the round. Still, though, Bone Cold trying to do something in response. He's actually getting shot back, but he gets the kill onto Vixen anyway, turning it into an advantageous position, but they've still got plenty to isolate. And as we mentioned already, these afterplants thus far have been strong. This kill might be everything. I don't think he actually spotted the gun barrel pointing through. He's going to catch him with a dart out. A teammate even helps as well. It's left on to CNED and Zeke. And we'll make that just Zeke. A 1 versus 2 scenario. The time already ticking so far, and he's just going to have to save his gun. A big round for Vivo Key. They have got their 12th.
Even the case where we saw Murray's pushing through towards Snowman through that toxic screen. He gets the one, he catches...
Dominating player that we expect to see, especially on this map. For now, though, let's see what they can do. It is, again, straight after the pause, straight after their opponents try and adapt. Vivo Key pick up the pace. They're going running straight in towards this site. Zeke's already dead, and it's Murray's again. 2 kills to open. Starzo, at least, is able to respond. The orbs already being retrieved. Maybe trying to get a little bit closer to that res. Joe is going to get himself another. Still quite far away from bringing a player back, but they might not need it at this point. CNED has found one, but at a cost of a lot of HP. There is, however, a res on the other side. SM would need to try and find a player here, and Bone Cold has been brought back, putting them in an advantageous spot. Killers has found another, making this one look more than possible, but he still stands alongside MW0. These two have been unbelievable thus far, but now it's just on to 1. It looks like an impossible scenario. 10 HP to try and kill off 2. The shot dart isn't really going to do anything. Bone Cold.
Acend play that you really want to see in a tournament like this.
Again, though, it's those openers. Like, Vivo Key still managed to get 2 straight into the site. And
it's not deterring Acend, though, look. They're still pushing. Like, they're putting up the Sage Wall, the Aldron to get information. It makes sort of re-aggressing onto this A site more difficult. But Zeke is still just trying to face. He's been doing it a little bit, punished mostly, but I do like this angle. Joe being able to wall it up, there's not really going to be too much seen. And Vivo Key at this point, not over-aggressing, it's just straightforward post-plant, sit back, Killjoy lockdowns, creating a lot of different space. And the resurrect if they need it.
And on the other side of things, sure, there's a couple of ults that are not far away. The Blade Storm, also the Empress, just 1 kill needed to get either of those online. They've got a lot still to do. Already getting spotting out. They've got this retake wall available. CNED is going to get 2 already. Looking like this is possible, but Vixen fighting. Looking to try and spray them down. It's left all onto Heat. The operator in hand, he's been spotted, but what is that flick? He's found himself one, just trying to bait Zeke off the defuse, and he's already done it, just leaving it down to this last player. A whiff spot, but he's buying time, and Zeke is